live. Come on, guys.
Says we're live.
What is this showing?
Right.
I think we're live, but I'm getting some kind of interesting box up on. Okay, that's gone. Hey, thanks. Every one of these live streams is an adventure, and here we go again. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to an interesting discussion tonight. This is interesting. I'm just taking a look at something else on the screen here. So here we are. We're in the month of July, and tonight we're going to have a wide-ranging conversation, but we're going to focus in on a couple of different things. One of which would be, hey, summer radio. What are you doing for the summers? And now I know we have viewers in the Southern Hemisphere. So for you, it's winter. I wonder what you're doing winter-wise. But for everybody in the Northern Hemisphere, what kind of interesting stuff are you doing? Have you been doing, or are you planning on doing while the good weather is here? Anyway, I want to kick this off by sending it over to my friend Tim, N9SAB, the proprietor of N9SAB antennas on eBay and Etsy. Hey, Tim, what's going on over in your world?
Well, Tracy, it's high summer here in Chicagoland, so it's about 100 degrees and 90% humidity. Other than that, I'm staying indoors to the air conditioning these days. Me and the dog.
It's cool in the basement where you're building those antennas.
It is,
right?
so too, but I got a dehumidifier, right? And I'm running that thing 24/7, you know, and I'm pulling, 4 or 5 gallons out of the air. I mean, even with the air conditioning, you know, I've got got a little tube that comes out, you know, the drainage for the condensate. And it just sounds, I mean, it sounds like somebody's going to the bathroom all the time, right? Because it goes in the drain, and it's just it's miserable. Which will kind of
noise, isn't it?
Huh?
It's like white noise, isn't it? Supposed to be relaxing?
A little bit, but all the walls down there are cinder block, so they're real thick. So I don't really get, you know, I only hear it when I go over into that section, but it's always on.
Okay, so it's rattling off the walls, I guess. Because of the cinder block?
Well, I get the computer's kind of loud, so.
Okay.
My point is, though, it's hot, as Ali would say.
Hey, we got Foggy.
Actually, it hasn't in Muggy. Yeah, it hasn't been bad the past. Actually, at night it's kind of nice because it gets down to like maybe 69, 70, somewhere around there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay, but during the day it's kind of miserable. But it's always humid. It's always
good stuff. Hey, Tim, hang on for just a second. Just going to address a few comments here. Hey, we got Mike, N2MAK. Mike, you know we always love to have you. Thanks for coming by. Hope you're doing well. And I've been watching some of your videos. In particular, I've been going back actually into your back catalog and taking a look at your 710 videos. Yaesu FT710. I'm sort of thinking about that one. Let me just I want to pull Mike's channel up while we're at it here.
Hello, Mike.
Mike's our friend.
Friend of the channel. Here we go. Okay, hang on a sec.
Actually, we have another friend of the channel. Looks like he logged in.
I can't wait to get down to that comment, so bear with me just a sec here. Let me do stop, present, share screen just while Mike is top of mind here. Here's Mike's channel. If you haven't seen Mike's channel, go on over and take a watch at his stuff. I love the stuff that Mike does. And Mike's in my area here. He's just across the border in New York State over by the Finger Lakes and does some great portable stuff. So good to have you, Mike. And nice. Hope your summer is going well. All right. So let me stop that. Get down here. Rob. Hey, Rob. Good to have you back. VE3PCP. International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. Have you guys heard of this?
It's one of my favorites.
Is it really?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I hadn't looked anything up, or I hadn't looked at a calendar or a schedule or anything like that. But just, you know, I started thinking about, you know, working lighthouses again, which is one of my favorites. Yeah. And let me tell you, where Rob is along the shore of Georgian Bay there, they've got some amazing
lighthouses all the way through that region?
We have one here in the harbor. It's not so much a lighthouse anymore as it is just this structure. I mean, because Great Lakes freighters used to come into the Port of Waukegan and drop off gypsum and all kinds of stuff. And when I was a kid, you could watch them come in because they come in. There's a park, right? There's a park and a bandstand and some other little recreational areas, but there's a channel right into the port. So you would stand on the break or next to the breakwater and look up straight into the ship, and these things are like 100 feet tall. It's like the Edmund Fitzgerald, cruising in your little river area there.
Yeah,
really cool.
absolutely. Excuse me. So for anybody who's not familiar with it, this is radio activation of lighthouses and lightships, and you get on the bands on that weekend, August 24th, 25th, and you're going to be able to make contact with all kinds of things, and I think they're treated pretty much as special events. So you can get you might be able to get certificates, you might be able to get cool QSL cards from it. By all means, take advantage of it. A great opportunity. Okay, I can't. Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Lighthouses and battleships. Those are my two favorite.
Very cool. Hey, did you ever hear from the HMCS Haida guys yet? I don't know what's going on. I have a feeling it's a bureaucratic nightmare, but hopefully that comes through.
All I need is an address.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here we go. Walt, it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Geez, nice to have you on board. And man, oh man, is your channel taking off? You got all kinds of exciting stuff over there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Walt was in my neck of the woods not long ago. I was watching one of his videos, and he drove up to Rhode Island, and he was on going through Connecticut. I was like, dang, that's it was not far.
All right, let me just get
cool.
Walt's channel.
Hey, we're somebody now. Right?
Sorry, give me a sec, guys.
Walt,
I'm sorry for the
Walt shows up. Well, now Walt shows up on our show, and
I know that definitely elevates our game.
He remembered who we were when he got big.
That elevates our game, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, what's that say here? So what's he at? 20,000 subscribers. I can remember when we had Walt on our stream. I think he was around 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers at that point. And he's passed me. Well done, Walt. That's absolutely fantastic. And
Walt's got the format. Walt's got the format nailed.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he does. It's crispy. It's bang bang bang. Those videos are all going to be like what? Less than 10 minutes long or 15 minutes long or something like that. With a definite topic. It's and plus Walt's a kind of a likable guy. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and look at the thumbnails. What a fantastic job he's done with the thumbnails on there to encourage interest. Great stuff.
Yep, it's a great channel.
Okay, let me see what else we got going on here. Who else has dropped by? Jason, KD9 ZHF. Okay, there, Tim.
Well, he's right about that. But since nobody's heard of Waukegan, and I can go out to my pier and look off to the right and see the skyline, it's close enough.
Good stuff. Yeah, on a clear day, right?
Although we are not even on a clear day, even on crappy days, you can do that. It's we're the home of Jack Benny though, and Otto Graham.
Jack Benny, Otto Graham. Wow.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends who went to Jack Benny Middle School when we were children. I didn't.
Jack Benny Middle School. No kidding. All right. Hey, look who's here. Look who showed up. Hey, Philip, always nice to see you. I got a story to share with Philip sent me in an email. I think it was earlier today. That's boy, it's really interesting.
Oh, was that his big sob story about his worst activation, or
yeah? Well, I you call it a sob story, but I am thinking
I went to the park and there were people there.
Hold on. I think my story is worse.
Let's not give it away. Let's not give it away. Let's hold on to that for a little bit. Okay.
He knows I love
got Rob VE3PCP. We run a portable station at the lighthouse as well as our remote station. Yeah, Rob has one heck of a remote station. He's always doing all kinds of stuff with that remote station. Okay, what's Walt saying? I'm working and temporarily living in Rhode Island.
Oh, so you were moving when you did that trip. Okay.
He's on the road to Rhode Island.
How far away is Rhode Island from you, Chris?
It's a couple hours. Yeah.
Collaboration opportunity.
Yeah, could be somewhere in the middle.
All right, Rob. Again, last weekend, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Tugs VE3TWM joined me on my remote to operate in the IARU HF Championship. Look her up on QRZ, a beautiful young YL from Turkey.
Hey, now.
That's cool. All right, Wade. Hi, everyone. Great to see you in Milton last weekend, Tracy. Yeah, that was the big area flea market last weekend. VA3 NCA. And do you know what, guys? You know what? Do you know what I bought on at the field day, or at the flea market? My buddy Tom, VA3WBA, a Coke. And that was it. I kept my wallet in my pocket.
Wait, what? Say it again. What?
That's what I bought. I bought him a Coke. My buddy a Coke.
Well, you went to the flea market. You went to the flea market and bought a refreshment.
That was it. Yep.
Sweet. That's awesome.
I kept my wallet in my pocket.
I'm rubbing off on you.
I was tempted by a couple of things. One of the interesting things that I like,
you did have to,
going back to the 1970s, right? Penniless school kid, didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And one of the shortwave radios, I was really into shortwave back in those days, that I really lusted after was the Drake. I think they called it the SSR7. It was like a silver black knob on it. And it was, holy cow, just a beautiful looking radio. I found out years later it really wasn't that great of a receiver, but man, did it look nice. And there was a guy there selling one that had it really nice, really pretty nice condition. It had one scratch on the front panel, but nothing that would put you off too much. You wanted 175 Canadian for it, and it's like, oh, not gonna. It's beautiful to look at, but yeah, I don't need another radio.
Right.
All right, what do we got? Oh, hey, wait a minute here. Okay, Philip, you're mocking. You're mocking Philip, but so there we go. All right, Tim, I interrupted you. Anything? How's the antenna business going, Tim? Before we move on,
things are starting to. It's like I said, it's high summer. Things are starting to slow down a little bit, which is
okay.
Which it's okay.
Now it's around this time of year when you usually find some time to take off with the spouse and head somewhere, isn't it?
No,
not going to do it this year. Well, you went to Minnesota last year.
That was in the fall. That was for a wedding. So that was like an occasion.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy just sitting. Okay. I don't having to go somewhere. It's going to be like a project, and
yep.
That's just like work. I don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so antenna business is still a little bit of a lull because it's summer.
Yeah. Especially going somewhere with my wife. I mean, good God. You know,
the secret to marital bliss. Don't go anywhere with your wife.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm just saying. Okay, so we went to Minnesota. It was she and I and my sister, and we rented one of those big SUV things, right? And I'm like, okay, fine. It's like a 12-hour drive or something. I'll just stretch out in the back. Oh no. We were gone for 3 days. Okay, 3 days. That thing was packed to the gills. So I got to bring the cooler. The cooler for what? Well, we got to have drinks and stuff. No. You ever heard of TA? We'll get whatever we need to get. We'll get on the road. No. It's this giant Coleman cooler. I mean, so I end up right. So like I'm in the back seat. The entire cargo space is taken. The back seat is completely taken, and I'm sitting here next to the door. Like this. No. Anyway, yeah. So summer lull. That's fine. Like I said, I'm okay. I got a lot of other projects that I'm doing too. So,
what are you working on, Tim?
Well, there's the garden in the yard, and then this old house, which needs everything all the time. Yeah. Doggy's getting a little old, so he needs a little more care than he used to.
Yeah.
He's
your pal.
He's my best pal.
Yeah.
He's my best pal. He is, which makes it kind of sad a little, but
yeah.
His eyes are getting a little lazy, he bumps into things sometimes. I'm not. stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Good stuff. Listen, thanks for the rundown there, Tim. Chris, what's new over in your? Oh, sorry. Just before we get there, let me just address Rob's comment. Rob VE3PCP. He's telling me we're talking about the Milton Ham Fest, which Milton's about 20 minutes north of where I'm at. Come on over to Hanover Ham Hall on August the 10th. I will be there providing a cross-band repeater for talk-in. We'll also be providing amateur tests for basic and advanced on-site. Good stuff. You're volunteering for the community. You're a wonderful example of an amateur radio operator, Rob. That's fantastic. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm going to be way up north that weekend. That's my August camping trip, and I'm heading up to way up north. It's probably an 8-hour drive to get there, so I'm going to miss Hanover this year. Okay, Chris, over to you. What's going on over there, Chris?
Well, ham radio wise, I worked the 13 Colonies special event over 4th of July week.
Oh, that's a fave too.
Yep, and it's fine. I never did that before, and I happened to be on that. I guess it started that Saturday or Sunday before. I forget. And I worked the guy in England. They have an English station, a French station, and then the station down in Philly. They're like the extra ones that are on there. And then you work one in each colony. You worked
King George?
I did.
I never did that one.
Worked them all. So the thing is, it took me. The first day I got like half of them. The second day I was on it, I got like all of them except for the guy in France. The hardest one to get was New Hampshire. That poor guy had a pile up like you would not believe. But finally worked them. So
there's always one that's really hard to get, and it seems like it changes from year to year.
Yeah,
I remember Rhode Island used to be. Well, now that
but it's funny. Rhode Island was for me. It was piece of cake. That
was it seemed like Rhode Island was tough. You can always get Georgia. You can always get New York. You can always get stuff like that. Yeah. You gonna send in for the certificate?
I filled out the log. I just have to, you have to mail it in $5 and get the certificate. And then you can also get QSL cards from the guys too if you want to do that. So
yeah,
but I'm like, yeah, okay. When I find some time, I'll do that.
They used to just do that. I mean, I've got a stack, I think.
Yeah. But it was like I never did this before, so it was fun. It was fun, kind of chasing some stations. And the French guys, like I kept watching the DX cluster. When I was sitting upstairs, all of a sudden I saw TM13COL, and I said, "Oh!" I ran downstairs, fired up the radio, and worked them. So. But it was fun. It was fun.
I'm surprised it wasn't Jill.
No, yeah, right. I don't know who it was. And that's it. We had a couple of camping trips, and I took the G106 out and gave it a test drive. So that's what I've been up to.
Chris, I want to get into your camping trip when we go into the worst portable experiences part of tonight's show. But will you now you brought it up, tell us about that G106 and how it's going. How are you finding that? And I'm while you're doing that, I'm just going to by the way, so I'm showing on the screen Chris's channel. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to Chris's channel, please go over and do it right away. Congrats on 5K subscribers, Chris.
We're closing in on 5,200. We're pretty close.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about that. About that G106, it sounds like a very interesting rig.
So I got it. If anyone watched a couple of videos I did on it, I got it as a as a backup for my FT817. I'm an 817 guy. It's all Tracy's fault, and I've had that radio for years, and it's a fantastic radio, and anytime I do an activation, I'm on my 817. But I remember our friend Tracy did a video. He was at a campground somewhere, like in the middle of nowhere, Canada, and his radio failed. He had a problem with the radio, but fortunately, he had another radio with him. And then I was like, in my pack, I've got multiple antenna choices. I've got multiple battery and power choices. I've got extra pieces of coax. I've got extra connectors and adapters, but I did not have an extra radio. And I was like, all right, I don't want to spend a whole ton of money on it. So there it was on Radioddity, the G106, and it's got some, it's got mixed reviews. If you watched, some YouTube channels that have reviewed it, some guys just completely dumped it. Some guys were like, "Oh, it's not a bad radio," So I said, "You know what? I'm going to give it a whirl." So I got a discount code through temporarily offline, he had a discount code on one of his G106 videos. So I bought the radio. Come in. It's a compact little thing. It really is tiny. But I took it out and did a POTA activation with it, and it's now lately the conditions haven't been great. I think because we've had a lot of solar weather coming, so like 20 and 40 has been really tough. So with the 106, a QRP radio, and again, it's the receiver on it. It's bare bones. So the receiver on it, you've got no options. There's really nothing you can do with the receiver. The transmitter is what it is. It's a basic radio. But I did manage to activate the park I was in. It took some work, but I kind of looked at it like, okay, is it a backup for my 817? Yes. Would I recommend it to be your main POTA radio? No, I would not do that.
You guys are not. You guys are primarily voice ops, right?
Yeah.
So
now for digital, there's a lot of guys that use it for FT8 at home. They'll just let it sit in their shack and they'll just run FT8 through it, and it works great for that.
See, I would have no problems doing a digital or CW rig with that thing. Sure. I mean, for less than how much is it now?
How much is on there?
Oh,
$326.
That's Canadian, right? That's Canadian.
Oh, okay. Is it?
Okay, so like
I'm looking at the Radioddity website.
Yeah, I think
it is Canadian dollars. Okay, yeah, hang on a second.
I paid like
$50.
$235, guys.
How much?
$235.
Yeah, and then you add.
Wow, man, they're hosing the Canadians.
Is that like a bundle? Does that come with a?
You can get a bundle with it, but you can't use a discount code on the bundle. So.
Okay.
And I think I paid $245 for it. Whatever. Yeah. It's again, you're getting does all modes, right? Yeah. So the feature set is not bad, but it is not by no means is it it's an okay radio. I'm not even going to say, I say you could marginally say, well, maybe for FT8 it might be very good, but I'm like, it's okay. It's not. It's got some stupid quirks with it.
Was it worth the money?
For a backup, sure. Look, if I got out to a campground and I took out my 817 and for some reason it threw up, I'd be like, well, all right, I'll grab this and set it up, and I know it. I did an activation, so I know it'll work. That's the thing. So
they use that ZU amplifier with it too, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, I don't have it.
It's not my thing. I get it, but you could, right?
You could, sure you could. Yeah, why not? Yeah. But there's a couple. In fact, one of the guys I just dropped yesterday. I think I did a short video of like a couple of little add-ons I did for it, just to kind of help the thing out a little bit. And it was a guy and left a comment that he had done some pretty cool things with his. Like he got a mobile mount that fits it, and he can put it in a cup holder in his vehicle. So I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. And he did something with Bluetooth with it too. I was like, oh, all right, pretty cool. So. Anyway, it's cute. It's good radio. It did what I had to do. Like I said, it's a backup. That's all I'd use it for. So
for that kind of money, it's hard to go wrong, isn't it?
Exactly.
Hey, check out Philip G106 for Tim. Nah, no time for radio, just baloney and bourbon.
Mostly,
I gotta say,
mostly Tim, baloney.
What's that?
Mostly baloney.
Hey. For an alternate viewpoint, let's read what Todd WK7L says. My FT817 is a pile of junk. Right now,
his 817, not the 817, his 817.
Yeah, thank you. Right now, it doesn't transmit, and even if I fixed it, then I still wouldn't trust it not to break again.
Wow.
Hey, Todd, let us know if you've had to replace the RF deck more than once, because I've never had knocking on wood, I've never had an issue with either of the 817s that I owned.
Listen, I've never had a problem with mine either. In fact, I don't know how many hours I've got on the darn thing, but since they discontinued them, I'm actually a little afraid of using it. Just because it's now a vintage thing. So
you know what? I sort of think of that in the back of my mind whenever I fire up my SG 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, we got Nick from the Ontario CB Club. And Todd, sorry, just going back to your 817. Do you think there were any extenuating factors that contributed to it, i.e., maybe an antenna issue or something along those lines? I'd be really interested in hearing what you think about that. What were the operating conditions like when you were using it that might have contributed to that? I mean, I've heard things like leaving it hooked up to a battery while the unit is turned off, causing that issues on some of the earlier ones. Hey, Walt's chiming in. My worst portable experience. Okay, so we're fast forwarding to our worst portable experiences here, and thanks for this, Walt. Worst portable experience was in Virginia Beach when out of nowhere the Atlantic decided to put a rogue swell and wave on me. All I can say is I stood there knee deep is that the true SDX floats.
Sweet.
Wow. Wow.
I would have thought that his worst experience was when the Karen came up and started yelling at him. But,
oh man, yeah.
But I think getting hit by a rogue wave.
Holy cow! Now I gotta say, I feel for you in that situation, but I feel for you somewhat less because I know you're living right next to that amplifier known as the ocean, and I'm not within hundreds and hundreds of miles of it. I can't take advantage of it. So but that's a fascinating story.
Yeah, we're just jealous.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, good stuff. That's the part on the G106. So let's just take a look at a couple more comments that are rolling in here. Terry, NE7TS. I have never had a problem with my 817. I think of it as my perfect radio. I wonder if, and when we talk about 817s, we tend to lump the 817 and the 817ND and even the 818 into that category. Because there were definitely a few issues with the very first 817, some of which got fixed up with the ND.
Well, just for clarification, I have the ND.
Yeah, that's what I have too, the ND.
Hey, I love this. From a YouTuber's perspective, I think this is fantastic.
There you go. Yeah.
Walt comes back saying, Karen has given me a few thousand subscribers.
Perfect.
I get it. All right. So next time I'm out in a park, I'm gonna go, I don't know, give a lady $20 or something.
That's exactly how you do it. Exactly. Just make sure she looks the part and has like a real screechy voice, and just $20 US, and it's perfect. That'd be so awesome. Of course, now the cat's out of the bag, so.
Fantastic. Hey, Terry, NE7TS. Thanks for the additional information, Terry. You've got an ND model. I've got an ND model.
That's a newer one.
Yeah, it's got an improved RF deck on it. I think that might have something to do with it. Okay, let's just we're caught up on comments right now. So if you are watching and can leave us a comment, let us know what your summer plans are. I am just going to let you know where I'm going. I think it's the second weekend in August. Here we go, right here. So this is where I'm heading, Mississauga Provincial Park, and this is so I'm down on Lake Ontario here. Do you see? Sorry, do you guys see my cursor?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm down on Lake Ontario towards the far end of the western edge here, right at the little point. I got to drive all the way up north to here, and it's probably, I don't know. I got to think it's close to 8 hours.
So you're going to be near the Sioux then?
Yeah. Well, the Sioux is right over here, and of course it looks a whole lot closer on this map because we're zoomed out. But it's
that's a hell of a drive. I did that.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good drive. And one of the things we have to do
from the Sioux, take it east to North Bay, through Sudbury and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so North Bay is this is North Bay. This intersection of highways here.
Yeah.
And Sudbury is here.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go up via Sudbury to save ourselves some time, and then cut across Highway 17 here, the north shore of Georgian Bay, and then we veer north. But we were at a camp, my brother and I, a few years back, ran into a couple from Timmins, and Timmins is up here. That's where I went last summer. I went to Kettle Lakes Provincial Park up here. They were from Timmins. We met them down at Chutes Provincial Park, which is down right along Highway 17 down here, where they have some massive rapids, just very spectacular rapids on a river, and beautiful place. Met these people from Timmins up there, and they couldn't say enough about Mississauga Provincial Park. So it's taken us a few years to make this happen, but that's where I'll be heading and doing a POTA activation for Mississauga. Now, I took a look at the POTA site, and if I remember correctly, it's a bit out of the way, guys, as you can imagine, right? I mean, all the population centers in Canada tend to hug the U.S. border. There's really, aside from Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie here, there aren't a lot of hams. Sorry?
There's nothing in between.
Yeah, exactly. So being out of the way where it is, I mean, you have to get off the main highway there and head north probably an hour before you get to the park. So I think the park record for POTA for an activation is something like 50. I think I've got a good shot at breaking it. Not quite sure what I'm going to use for a station yet. I'll work on that. But that's my plan for the summer. To head up there next month and do a POTA activation.
Is that blueberry season?
Probably. And you know who loves blueberries out in the woods, right?
Yeah.
Bears. They're big blueberries.
And the beef pasties.
The moose?
The beef. Well, that's all I remember from that trip. Is every 2 miles there was like somebody on the side of the road selling blueberries, and in between that somebody was selling beef pasties.
Where was that on the Canadian side? I've never heard of beef pasties.
Yeah, somewhere.
Oh, okay. No, I've never heard of.
Or maybe that was Michigan. I don't know. Okay. You got to admit they look alike.
Who looks like?
The Michigan side and the Canadian side.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Not look who's not blueberries and beef pasties. No.
Okay. Mohammed is back. Hey, Mohammed, thanks for joining us.
Well,
great to have you back.
Yeah.
Algeria?
Yeah.
Yep.
I worked them that night. Remember the last time we were on?
I certainly did. No, that was fantastic.
With the C10.
It's the middle of the night. Thanks for joining us, Mohammed. It really adds something when you're here with us. We got a response from Todd, WK7L. He replaced the finals and it didn't fix the problem. He may have had an antenna issue, but if that was the problem, then that makes me really nervous about making it my primary field radio. I get it. Hey, Todd, I completely understand.
Well, he's got the wrong antenna, probably.
Well, I don't know. Is it the finals or could it? Well, obviously it wasn't the finals. So, and if it's not transmitting, it could be something ahead of the final, like that's feeding into the finals. I don't know. Wow. Now, is it on? Now that's an all band, pretty much an all band radio. So is it you getting no output on like the VHF and UHF parts of it too?
That's a good question. Yeah. Philip, no summer radio plans. Halt on outside radio and antenna work. Yeah, Philip was telling me about the heat. So Philip's from Georgia. They've had ridiculous heat down there. Now, I got to say, and I actually wanted to touch on this shortly, but, I was out in the heat field day, and I have a feeling we were getting similar weather, even though, of course, I'm in Canada, the southern part of Canada. I have a feeling I was getting similar weather to what most of the eastern United States was getting through that heat wave.
It was hot. It was really hot.
It was hot, but I was outside. Philip, that's not a knock. That's not a knock. I get it, man. You got to take care of yourself, and there's no point exposing yourself to something you really don't have to. No summer radio plans. Halt on outside radio and antenna work until at least late September, as it's usually running 95 degrees. See, if you're getting that day in and day out, holy smokes, that's just nasty. Hey, we got Andrew, N1YLO. Hey, Andrew, nice to have you back. Thanks for joining us. Late, but we're happy you're here. Bright light. Many operators don't know that holding the clarifier button in for more than 1 second on the FT817, 818 activates an IF shift filter feature. Great for QRM.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Huh.
There's still features on that radio that I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to noodle with that. That's a great one to have.
I had to buy one of those laminated acetate sheets
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Two sides. It's 11 by 17, both sides, in like number 2 font.
Yeah.
You know, TLDR.
You know,
turn it on.
Couldn't we make that same statement about virtually every radio out there?
Totally.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you take a look at some of the sophisticated rigs out there today. You know, you look through and this is one of the things I've talked about before. You know, you go with an ICOM, for example, like a 7300 versus say something like the FT DX10 or the FT 710, right? The ICOM has, and I'm going to use the term, and I don't want anybody to get offended when I say it, a dumbed down menu. But it gives you a lot of the functionality in just very easy way to access these things. I've noticed that with my 705. So, you know, it's like if you want really nice transmit audio, it's very simple to go in and do it. The Yaesu gives you a higher degree of control,
right?
But those controls are not adequately documented in the manuals,
right?
And require quite a bit of tinkering.
Yep.
So the Yaesu is capable of it, but at a whole lot more effort. It's an interesting thing. And of course, when you take a look at some of the menus and the options in there, I'm going to say, you know what? I come from the software industry. 95% of Microsoft Word users use 5% of the features of Microsoft Word.
That's
right?
true.
Have no idea about the other 95%. And this is what I do professionally. I talk to clients about AutoCAD, for example, you know, and you know how we can help them, you know, with the other 95% to maybe save some time and money by using features that are already built into it. So when we're using our radios, we're not getting the entire performance out of it. So tips like this bright light, they're really nice to have. Thanks for throwing that forward.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to read the entire book. I don't know anybody who's going to read the entire book except for maybe Philip.
Now leave poor Philip alone. He's staying cool.
There's another shot back the other way.
he's in the house all summer, so you know, gotta do something.
Man.
So Walt, I was talking about up north, right? Walt, oh how I want to go camping up there, drink some Molson with the Tragically Hip playing on the radio, and doing some portable with a /VE call. Let me know when you're ready to come, Walt. We'll set something up. And that would be fun. Okay. Todd, WK7L. I'm familiar with the battery issue. Now we're going back to his 817, which I believe is the original 817.
We're going to troubleshoot this thing, Todd. We're going to get
we're going to try with the battery issue. Never had it hooked up like that. Well, good for you. Also have an FT100D, and I am unhappy with the HF side. Hey, Todd, tell us why. What is it about the FT? Because the FT100D is one of those radios that I often hear good things about.
I had one when kind of when they first came out. Mine was mine a D? I forget. And it worked, but I tell you what, I had it, and something went wrong with the transmit side. I had to ship it to Yaesu to fix it under warranty. Got it back, and not long after that, I was tuning up 15 meters on it with the ATAS antenna, and all of a sudden I smelled smoke. I said, "Oh crap!" And I lost the 15-meter band on like transmit on that radio.
Oh,
yeah. Geez. So I wound up selling it, and I was like, I said, so the FT100, I did not. I used it at home for a long time, and it worked great. But I had two serious failures with it. So I was like, that.
I had an FT857 that on a field day burned up on me. I sold it as a tech special. Do you guys have that term, tech special?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As a tech special, and never, it's like that kind of soured me on the 857. Go figure, because I'm a big 897 fan, which is literally an 857 in a different case.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Oh, we got Scout 75. Hey, nice to have you with us, Shane. Hope you're doing well. Pasties are from the Upper Peninsula, which in Tim's defense is Canada Light.
Oh,
I love that.
Man, oh man. There's a lot of
Told you.
Did you say hold on?
No, I said told you.
Okay. All right. K6TAT is here. Hey, K6TAT. Nice to have you here. Pasties are a UP delight. Upper Peninsula, right? Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And let me tell you, I used to work for a company that had their headquarters, their North American headquarters in Milwaukee. And Wisconsinites are still ticked off that Michigan got the Upper Peninsula. The Wisconsinites figure that should have been theirs. All right, Mohammed back. Plan for this summer is to visit Canada, maybe next week. Hey, Mohammed, tell us where you're coming. It'd be nice to know. All right, what do we got here? Rob, we had severe thunderstorms as well as tornado warnings on field day. Rob, you just reminded me. You sent a comment earlier that I didn't get to, and I wanted to give it some airtime here.
Actually, while you're looking that up, that I did not operate field day at all for the same reason. We were getting inundated here with just constant thunderstorms rolling in and out the whole weekend. So yours truly did nothing for field day. So
I don't blame you. Fortunately, the thunderstorms weren't in our area. I heard a few rumbles here and there, but we never actually had one roll through where I was. Okay, going back to Rob, VE3PCP. This is awesome. And I hope people here will fire up their rigs. So he's saying, my good friend Eva, HB9 FPM, is putting on a big YL event in Czech from August 4 to 10 using Contest Station Oscar Kilo 5 Zulu. More than 20 YLs from many different countries together, operating as Oscar Lima 88 YL. That's amazing.
It's a lot of, Rob's got a lot of ends with those YLs, doesn't he?
He's connected, that guy, for sure.
Buddy.
Okay. Todd, so we were asking Todd, is going back to his defective 817. He only gets a faint signal.
All right, on HF and VHF. Okay, so it's both, because those are obviously two different output transistors, right? Output circuits, right? So I'm wondering now we're troubleshooing. So have you tried is that with both antenna connectors?
Yeah, because if he's running out of the front one, that's got like a VHF thing, or it's optimized, I think, for VHF.
Right, it's got the BNC connect. You're right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm wondering if, because obviously there's probably some sort of relay or something that's routing the RF, whether it goes out the back or out the front, right?
And I'm assuming that this is different antennas, different coax, different, right? Because if I were having these problems, the first thing I would do is I would take a look at my coax, and if I had a crimp connector, I would get rid of it and just go get something soldered.
Right.
That would be my first thing. So I'm assuming, or I would assume, that all that's been done already, right?
Hey, let us know, Todd. Let us know. We're trying to figure this out, and maybe we won't get anywhere, but it's one of those mental exercises it's
always fun to think about it.
Yeah.
Conveniently, I think I have my manual for the radio right here. So hang
on. Rob V3PCP says his Kenwood TS120 and TS130. I think he's going back to all the features. He doesn't need a card to operate. All right, let's go. I think he's talking about those quick reference cards, right? Hey, yeah. Mike. Okay, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And take care. We'll catch up.
Yeah, good to see you, Mike.
Later, Mike.
Rob came back and said he operates AutoCAD 10 hours per day. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'd be looking to talk to some ladies too after that.
Yeah, no joke.
He's lucky the ladies talk to him if he's on AutoCAD all day long.
Yeah. I will bring. Okay, Mohammed's going to bring with him his Yaesu FT857D to do a QSO from Canada. Well, where in Canada, Mohammed? Maybe you've listed. You've got it further on down. I'm running behind in comments, and I'm catching up here. Okay, Shane, Scout 75, and actually. While I'm doing this, hey, Tim, would you mind reading his comment while I bring up his webpage or his YouTube channel to show people?
Sure. It's just, for me, the worst part of Yaesu's menus is that their structure is not consistent between radios. If they were consistent, the depth would be more tolerable. Absolutely true.
Agreed.
Absolutely true. In fact, I thought I would be able to get over going from Yaesu to Yaesu, the 817 back to the 450, back to the nope. I ended up having to buy those stupid little laminated cards for all of them. Still can't read them. Uh-oh.
You know, I thought the manual for the 817 would have had a schematic in it, but those days.
No, you got to download that.
Yeah.
Do they actually have one for download? I didn't know that.
I've never seen one.
Probably not anymore.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
I bet you could probably pull one off on the forums or something.
Probably, yeah.
Hey, here is Shane's YouTube channel. If you're watching this, you haven't seen his channel, please go on over, check it out. He's an outdoors oriented guy. Hey, and he's community oriented too. I mean, just a really good citizen and a ham, and got a lot of energy and passion. So go on over and check out Shane's channel. All right, let's get on with some of these. Todd's coming back. Given all my issues with the Yaesu radios, I kind of gave up on them. Todd, I'm with you. You know, if I had the same thing, I'd feel exactly the same way. That's too bad because I like the operation of them. I get it. AC8ARO. Hello, Tracy. Well, hello to you. Thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate it. Come back and let us know your name.
He's an 8. Where's he at, I wonder?
Yeah, where are you at? Philip, Yaesu and Kenwood missed the bus on portable radio work. Okay. Yaesu has the 891, which is almost what we would call a de facto standard for POTA these days. Maybe not the very, like, if you're thinking about, Philip, if you're thinking about QRP, you're right. What have they got? They got rid of, they got rid of the 857, the 897, both low current draw 100 watt radios. But ICOM's eating their lunch with the 705. But the 891 seems to be doing okay. Now, yeah, it's got a much higher current draw, 50% higher than an 857. Doesn't have VHF and UHF, which I think is a criminal thing. Yeah, I understand the point you're making, Philip. Hey, Walt comes back. Tracy, the only AutoCAD commands you need are line, circle, arc, and offset. And you can pretty much draw anything. Just turn your O snaps on. Mm-hmm. Now, so here's the deal.
I'm sorry. Nerdville is next door.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say, Tim, I'm a sales guy. I have no idea what that means.
So let me throw this out there. So the last time yours truly flew AutoCAD, it was before they made AutoCAD to work with a mouse. I had a tablet, and I could run that thing without even looking at it. I had fully operated AutoCAD, but when the mouse version of it came out, I was like, I can't work with this. So that shows you how long ago that was.
Thanks for that, Walt. Hey, N4JAW, Jim Ham on a bike. Well, that sounds pretty cool. Good evening from Kentucky and good evening from Ontario. Nice to have you on board.
I've talked with a Ham on a bike guy.
Really?
I wonder if that was Jim. Yeah.
Okay. Jim, let us know if you've talked to Tim before.
Well, yeah, it was a guy who wrote articles for like On the Road magazine or something like that, and he would have a little NFED and an 817, and he would stop and work stations on one of his road trips or something like that. I don't know.
That's awesome.
He was driving like what's this big Honda, the Gold Eagle or
Goldwing?
Goldwing. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, tell us more. Tell us more about the Ham on a bike, please. Okay, Philip comes back. Walt was forced to learn microstation when he started working for the Army. So microstation is a little bit
again, Nerdville down the road.
Hey, Rob, VE3PCB is just confirming. Yeah, he is connected. He's connected.
I got a party with Rob.
Hey, Rob, VE3PCP. Tracy, did you try the reflector wire on the ground under your NVIS dipole antenna? Maybe try it when you go up north. I didn't get a chance to, Rob, and the reason was that field that was back behind my campsite where I planned on running the 80-meter dipole was absolutely infested with biting flies. I tried to get back there. It was crazy hot out. I didn't want to wear long pants. And of course, everybody's worried to death about ticks these days and Lyme disease. So I took the easy way out, and all I did was run one of Tim's 40-meter dipoles over to a tree along the side, so I didn't have to wade all the way through that field.
My experience with the reflector wire on the ground doesn't make a lot of difference.
Is that right?
A lot of hassle for not a lot of return. That's my experience.
Well, you know what? One day I'd like to try it. I think that's a fascinating experiment.
And it has the thing with reflectors, they got to have the right spacing. You got to get, you're talking ground conductivity. Now you're fighting all that stuff and running another. You know what? Just put the dipole in the air and make contacts. That's my advice.
That's a good point. It's an interesting point. But I you know me, I love to experiment with antennas. I was out doing some of that today. Todd,
not enough to go into a field with biting flies and ticks, though.
No, not on a baking hot weekend. No, I wasn't going to do that.
Every man has his limits.
Let's just be clear. A man's got to know his limits.
I could tell you some stories about my battles with winged vampires in the northern woods. Todd, WK7L, the FT100D is an awesome radio, but I bought an early model and it would stop transmitting due to false high SWR readings. Really? I can fix it, but why do my Yaesu radios all break? That's a great question. Why did I think you're right. Get
along.
sometimes you just get under a dark cloud and you have to take a different path. That's life. Wait, look who's here. We got Tim, Golf 5 Tango Mike. Hey, Tim, wonderful to hear from you. And he's halfway around the world.
What is he doing in New Zealand? Is he there for like the World Economic Forum conference or something? I mean,
he'd be protesting. I think I know Tim. I think he'd be protesting.
Teach him how to speak the Queen's English the right way.
Blimey.
Great to hear from you, Tim. I hope you're having a great time down there. Oh, man.
Is he operating? Is he /ZL?
Tell us, Tim. Give us an update. Hey, it's morning there. It's not the middle of the night, so
are we going to get some?
Be able to give us an update. All right, who do we got here? Bruce, Kilo 8, RQX. Enjoy the show. Watching you guys and drinking a Molson. Good for you. Hey, Bruce, thanks for joining us.
You know what happens? Really awesome. If you send Molson to a lab, it'll come back and tell you your horse has diabetes.
Okay, Colin in VK. Good day, all. Hey, Colin, thanks for joining us. Wonderful to have you from down under.
I think it's good day.
Right.
Good day.
Yeah, good day.
Good day. And it's Melbourne, not Melbourne, right?
Is that Melbourne?
I don't know. I heard Tucker Carlson talking.
It's like Melbourne. Yeah.
Anyway, we're really happy to have you join us. Okay. Philip, 891 gobbles electrons. Yes, it does. It's a bit power hungry. KC8 ARO John here, about 3 hours south of the Mighty Mac Bridge over in Michigan. Good to see you as well. Met in Xenia last year. Hey, John, I apologize. I sincerely apologize that I didn't remember you. Thanks for joining the show, and thanks for being a long-term subscriber.
So 3 hours south of Mackinac would put him, what, Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne's Indiana, right?
Yeah, it's underneath Michigan.
Yeah, but isn't Michigan taller than that? You could go 3 hours to get down.
I don't know. I don't know if it's 3 hours tall.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, hang on a sec. Hang on. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm pretty good at geography. I'm just going to go back to this map here. So, Michigan, Detroit. Now, if it's going to take me 8 hours to drive from here to here, the Mackinac Bridge, I guess it's pronounced, is here.
Yeah.
So you got to come all the way down here. I'm thinking that's more than 3 hours, Tim.
Okay. Well, consider this. All right, your Canadian highway there between where you are and
it's got a roundabout,
and it's got 2 lanes, right?
Yep. Well, yep, for a good chunk of it.
Yeah. So I don't. And I'm pretty sure. I know Michigan may be tough to get around north south. But east-west, I mean, you've got 80. You've got a lot of 4-lane stuff there. Plus, I think it's just plus we drive faster too. So
yeah, it could be.
This would be solved if you would just tell us where he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, John, let us know whereabouts in the state you are. And in fact, if you are in Michigan. Todd's back, going back to his FT817, which we're trying to troubleshoot for him. I swapped antennas and did all the easy stuff with no joy. I finally decided to buy a TX500. You know, that's a nice radio. He loves it. The FT817 sits in a shoebox container in my basement.
Sell that thing.
Yeah, sell it. Yeah. Sell it.
Tech special.
One of us will buy it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tech special.
Yeah.
Going back to Rob, he was talking about tablets.
Oh, might have been. I forget which one I had. I remember we had to like plot out like there was like a plot we would on a regular plotter, and the drafting guys plotted out for me. That was we slid underneath like a plastic cover that sat on top of the tablet. But it was awesome. Once I got that thing down, I could fly it without even looking at it. It was great. It was great.
There was a brand name of tablets that was really big back in the late 80s, early 90s. I think the brand name started with the letter I, and for the life of me, I can't remember.
I forget which one I had.
Yeah. Going back to John. Hey, John found the 817 schematic online. Okay, great. All right, let me see. Look at this, N0LSD. I see JAW all the time, JAW all the time on Mastodon. Can somebody enlighten me, being a Luddite? I'm not familiar with Mastodon.
I think Substack, Mastodon, Telegram. I don't know if Telegram would be the right thing. It's a blog site.
Okay.
For lack of a better word.
Yep. Okay, Chuck T is weighing in. Hey, Chuck T, I haven't acknowledged you yet tonight. Thanks for joining us. If you don't know about those biting flies, you don't want to know. Northern Minnesota has those, and there's nothing like bleeding from behind your ears. Holy cow. Yeah, northern Minnesota, northern Ontario, it's all the same. It is just miserable. Late May through to early August. Yeah. It's just a hostile environment. Okay. Todd's coming back and saying, I appreciate the FT817 troubleshooting. If someone wants to fix it and give it to an aspiring young new ham, I'll give it to you. Well, thanks for the kind offer, Todd. I understand your frustration, and I'm guessing. Let us know. Well, how is it going? Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
We have to take it now.
Well, if there's somebody, like, I'm not a technician.
Well, yeah, but you can. I mean, somebody in the chat would take a look at it. I'm sure. I know.
Well, exactly.
I know
I
know a guy in the chat right now who would love to get his hands on something like that and play with it indoors all summer.
An engineer?
When it's hot, can't go outside.
An engineer?
Yeah, you just want to go outside in the heat. Yep.
Not only that, but he also communicates with some aspiring young hands and likes to help them out too. He's a real citizen.
All right, cool, fantastic. There you have that.
Maybe we have brokered a deal.
Let's hope so. So carry on that in the chat. Okay, guys, we've got a couple of things. There's something I want to touch on before we get into the worst portable experiences. And I want to share a couple of screens with you here.
Well, before we do that.
Yeah, okay.
Before we do that, you have to click on KCARO, right? Because apparently I was wrong. It is 3 hours tall, or more than 3 hours tall.
Hang on.
So you can get Chicago-style dogs on one end of the state and beef patsies in the other end of the state. So sorry, I didn't see it. So where is he at? If you look in the chat, he's in West Branch, Michigan, 3 hours north of Detroit. So I don't know what that highway is coming out of Detroit going up to the Sioux, the Mackinac Bridge. What highway is that?
Like it's here, right? The Mackinac Bridge.
But if you look at it, because I know from my house I can make it up to Door County's about. Well, yeah, Door County's about 6 hours away, so that would be right.
All right, so we've got that part. Thanks for.
I said corrected.
6 hours. 6 hours tall. Okay, look at that. So Michigan's pretty. Yeah.
He is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
All right, good stuff. West Branch, Michigan. Philip, you would make your own menus, print them, and tape them down to the tablet and auto.
Yeah. Mine was like we plotted it, and it was like about at least maybe like 12 inches by 12 inches square. Then it slid into a pocket that had like a plastic cover on the tablet. So
right.
Okay. Pocket protector.
You need a big pocket. All right. So let's let me show you some stuff that I was looking at. So I go and do my field day video every year, right? And I didn't even realize it until I think the week before field day this year. This was my 10th in a row, 10th annual field day video. I didn't even realize it. It's like, holy cow. So one thing I like to do after field day is look up on YouTube and see how others are doing their field day, what they've done.
You should do a montage. This is kind of
cool. Sorry?
You should do a montage.
Yeah.
10 years of field day. 10 years of field day with Tracy.
I intend to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna pull something together. Maybe not till next year though. So here is the Coquitlam Amateur Radio Emergency Services Society, and they actually had Canadian Reserves come out and help them set up their station. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right.
They don't look very soldierly, though, if I may say so.
It's a new generation.
Okay.
All right. Let me go share a couple of other things. All right. So let's see. We did that one. Here is Kyle, AA0Z. So he was with a group, and he's near St. Louis. So I don't know if this was actually in St. Louis or what, but with a group, and it looked like a one of those shelters, those park shelters where you have the barbecues and the tables and everything set up.
Very civilized.
That was kind of cool. What else we got here? Let's share this one. This is still learning to do this. Here is a radio ham guy. Do you guys know him? His name is Larry. He's in Minnesota, and every year he does a video, and he sets up field day in his garage.
Sweet.
And this year, and Larry just seems like I've never met him. I've never communicated with him. He's had his channel for years. He just seems like a really down-to-earth, great, genuine guy.
We should have him on.
And they got, we should. They had teeming rain. Chris, you were talking about it, and we're going to get to your story in just a minute here. This is inside his garage.
Oh man, it's garage.
Yes,
that's pouring about the size of it.
Down rain.
I don't remember if it was actually on field day, but we had something similar here. I mean, I had to run to FedEx, right? It was like 8:00 at night, and and everything here goes like this, right? There's the glaciers retreated, so you've got all these potato chip kind of hills and ridges and things like that.
Yeah.
And when you get to the bottom of one of those, there had been like a foot of water.
Whoa.
So the Jeep can swim. So I found that out. But it was rough. It was rough for a couple of days.
Yeah. Okay, let's show you something else. And as I'm looking through all of these, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Let's take a look. Here's a couple of guys from New York State. KB2DSQ and KB2DSR, and they're setting up in their backyard. All right, and they got a little QRP field day station. I thought that was pretty cool.
QRP is 5 watts or less. Damn it.
Yep. Well, and that's going to be a topic for a future stream, because I think we could have a very lively discussion on that. All right, and just before I say what I was going to say, let me bring in N0LSD. Field day for me is always a hike out into the woods with all my kit on my back, a tent, some food, essentially an overnight POTA activation.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
Thank you for that.
For me.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Now, I'm going to throw
That's
another.
awesome.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into the whole field day discussion. I saw a guy, and I don't know who it was and where I saw it, but it's a ham that was composing a letter to the ARRL, basically pleading with them to remove to go back to the way the rules were for one Delta stations before COVID, where one Delta contacting one Delta would count as a field day contact. And this guy was like pleading with them to go back because he believed that the essence of field day was being lost with encouraging people working from home, plugged into mains power, just making contacts with each other. So and the reason why I say it's a monkey wrench is because while I agree with the idea, because it's not meant to be a based a home shack to home shack day operating event. It's supposed to be to improve your field portable operating skills. That's the idea, right? So, but however, you do need to have people at home making contacts, because in an emergency situation, you're going to be looking for those people who may have a landline that can make a phone call for you if you're in the middle of nowhere, right? So,
agreed.
So I agree with the guy in theory that again, they keep saying field day is not a contest yet. There's points, there's this, there's that, but it's not a contest. But you can still rack up all these points, right? And they'll publish you in QST if you're up in the top, whatever. So I get the idea of saying, you know what, if you're in a home shack, you should not be making contacts with other, one Delta should not be hunting after other one Deltas to say, oh, I made another contact. That's not the spirit of field day, but they should be there so they can work people in the field. So that's it. I agree with the guy. And he was also saying that there should be a 100-watt limit. So
personally, I like that idea a lot, but I understand there's going to be a lot of pushback.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just share something here. So Rob just mentioned, and I didn't do this earlier, and I want to make sure I do this. Where is Rob?
You're not going to stop it.
No.
People are going to turn.
No, even if you make it a rule, people won't.
Yeah, agreed. Well, my question was when I read the thing, I was talking to my wife about it, and I read the guy's letter. I said, okay, first question, how are you going to police that? What are you going to do? Have people get on there and you make the contact? No, stop that. You can't do that. You can't police it. That's the problem.
No, you can't. Right. You can't. So here's Rob's YouTube channel, VE3TWM. And so, Rob, you've got some live stream testing for Field Day 2024. And he was referring to, I hope I've got her name right, Tugsi, TA3TGC from Turkey here. Now, let me, so I'm looking for the Field Day. It looks like this must be the one. Did the screen just switch for you guys? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're seeing, let me just scroll ahead a little bit here. And so what Rob says, testing it. So Rob, let us know, were you actually using, holy cow. I mean, she's a model, isn't she? Was she actually making field day contacts? Let us know, Rob. That's really interesting.
She was transmitting JPEGs too on digital.
Yeah. Okay, let me see here. D is a 100-watt limit. Is that right?
Is it?
I didn't know that. Delta is a 100-watt limit.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Rob.
The last time I looked at all the field day rules, where they printed out a little thing, I think I fell asleep like halfway through.
Well, here's the question: are guys actually maintaining a 100-watt limit?
Come on. What do you think?
Far be it from me to think that somebody's not following the rules.
Remember, field day is not a contest. It's an emergency preparedness exercise.
I hate people who don't follow the rules.
Hey, Neck from the Ontario CB Club. Tracy, I have an app for you. You don't have to change the band. I published a video a couple of weeks back about my adventures with the Chinese MXP50M. And I mentioned in there that you have to switch the band. You have to switch the band on the amplifier every time you switch bands, or every time you change bands on the transceiver, or else you risk damaging the amplifier. And I've actually forgotten a couple of times. So I could just see myself doing it. The newer generation of amplifiers have this automatic band switching built in. I think maybe we'll touch that in a future live stream. So, Nick, yeah, if you have recommendations for something like that, I think that would be really interesting. Okay, Rob, yes, we're talking about field day. I put the link in the chat to our live stream.
Okay.
Didn't see that. Somehow I missed it. Okay, and Rob says, yeah, so they were making field day contact. That's very cool. Okay, N0LSD, field day is absolutely a contest, but only if you participate in it as a contest. Part of the issue with field day is it tries to be all things. Education.
You know what? I don't think it's an issue. You know what? Field day for me is exactly what that other fellow was talking about, where you just throw everything in a pack and you walk out into the woods and do your thing. And for somebody else, it's going to, the park with a little shack and setting all that stuff. I know Philip did it with a club, and they had a bunch of stuff there. So it's there for everybody. You know what? I mean, just get outside and get on the air, right? Somebody said once.
Oh, I heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
So, Tim, so you think about it, it's almost like a microcosm of the entire ham radio hobby. Hey, you don't like digital, you can do moon bounce. Hey, you don't like that, you can do contesting.
You don't like field day,
county hunting.
You can work the work bands too,
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's the anti-field day bands. Yep.
So it's a big tent, and I love field day, right? I think a lot of us love field day. It's something really special. And talking about field day, the one thing that struck me, so here we are, how different, and I mentioned I've just done my 10th field day video, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just kind of looking back at all the changes in the hobby with regard to portable operation over the past 10 years. There weren't a whole lot of people doing it before Parks on the Air got popular. That brought a whole lot of folks into it. The pandemic brought another wave of people into it. There's all kinds of people doing HF portable stuff, typically around Parks on the Air. But when it comes to field day, here I am. I'm going through YouTube. I'm looking at other people's field day, and it's all really impressive. In some cases, you have a couple of guys setting up a modest station in a backyard. You've got big groups at a big picnic area. You've got guys down south. They got these temporary towers that they erect with, full Yagis on top, and they're working outside or inside an air-conditioned building. And here's this guy in Canada that's been doing something for 10 years, which is going out on his own, setting up a station outside all by himself, and there's nobody else out there doing it on YouTube anyway. Now, when I saw N0LSD, I'm thinking, well, that's wonderful. Great. I've got some company out there. I would have expected to have seen more people doing the sort of thing that I'm doing, but I don't see it. And maybe it's just because I'm a crazy nut that goes out in all weather, and nobody else wants to do that. Rob, our live stream was a bit over 4 hours long. Mizuki and Tugsy made the majority of the contacts. Very cool. All right. Chris, it's time. Will you please tell us about your worst portable experience? And this is fresh in your mind, isn't it?
Just happened. Yeah, that's right. It just happened. So this past week, we went out to Housatonic Meadows State Park on a camping expedition. That was on.
How do you spell that? Sorry, Chris. How do you spell that?
Housa.
Housatonic, like the chip?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay, I think I've got it. State Park.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Please continue.
All right. So we went out Sunday afternoon, had everything all packed, and off we go. Now, my wife had to work on Monday, so we took 2 vehicles. That's an important piece of information. Keep that in mind. So we get to the site, and we set up on Sunday afternoon, and got into the. I didn't set up any radio gear. We just set the campsite up on Sunday afternoon. So Monday morning, my wife heads off to work, and the first thing I realized, Now, the plan was to activate the park. It's a state park. I was going to activate the park. The first mistake I made was I assumed there would be cell service, and there was none. So therefore, I had no way. I never didn't write down the POTA active, what the entity number. I never wrote it down. So I'm out there not even knowing where I am as far as POTA is concerned. So I'm like, all right, I have to get on, try to work another guy to park. Hopefully he had service and he could tell me what park I was in, right? Okay. But Monday, the band conditions, I hopped in my truck. I'm listening around at 20 meters, 40 meters. Band conditions were horrendous. There was just nothing out there. I said, all right, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it on Monday. And to talk about hot, it was like, 95, 90% humidity. It was just brutal. I said, all right, I'm not going to operate today. So that's Monday. So Monday night, my wife comes back out to the campground from work. Everything's fine. During the day, Monday, we did have a thunderstorm roll through in the afternoon, and I just ducked in the tent, and waited it out, and it cleared. Everything was fine. So late Monday, before we turn in, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should throw the extra tarp that my friend Tracy told me you should always bring with you. Put an extra tarp over your tent. If there's rain, it'll keep you dry. And I was like, you know what? We had a storm go over. There was no rain. The rain fly was on. Everything worked. I'm not going to worry about it. So we go to bed. And about 12:30, in comes this thunderstorm, and the rain is pouring. When I say pouring, it's unbelievably coming down. It's just like hurricane type rain. The rain fly could not keep up, so it wasn't leaking through the seams. It was just coming through the rain fly. So we're getting wet. And that's Monday night. So Tuesday morning, I'm thinking, well, all right, Tuesday, it's another day. Maybe I can activate the park. I had my radio bag in the truck. I'm ready to go, right? So Tuesday morning comes out. My wife's outside. I come out, and she says, hey, why don't you open the truck? Because we had our coolers in the truck to keep the food away from bears, so we can get some breakfast going. I said, great. I grabbed my keys, which were in the tent, but the truck key was a little wet. And it's got one of those, the buttons is a fob kind of key. And I go out to the truck, press the button, nothing. Truck won't unlock, it won't do anything. Lock, unlock, the panic alarm, nothing. Great. I said, all right, well, maybe the battery on the stupid key died, so I'll just unlock the truck and open it. Well, I unlocked the truck manually with the key, opened the door, and there's a little message on the dashboard saying start vehicle to stop alarm. I was like, okay. So I get in the truck, turn the key, nothing. The truck battery, the voltmeter is showing 13 something volts. So I'm like, well, the battery's not dead. So what's wrong? The key is dead. The truck's not recognizing the key with the proximity thing. It won't allow the truck to start. With that, the alarm goes off. So we get in the car and we drive out to the local Ford. Now, remember, we have no cell service. So we drive out 20 minutes to a local Ford dealer. I have an F-250. Bring them the key. Hey, this doesn't work. Okay, they swap the battery. Another 20 minutes back. Go to the campground. Try to unlock the truck. Nothing. Truck is still dead. So we go back to the campground office. We call AAA. And 45 minutes later, the tow truck flatbed shows up. And during those 45 minutes, we're just like bugging out. We're packing everything up, throwing it in the truck. And the flatbed picked up the truck, and off we went. A day early, we planned on leaving the park Wednesday. This is Tuesday at lunchtime. So needless to say, the radio bag never left the truck. Never had an opportunity to get on. Never had an opportunity to try to ask somebody what park I'm in, like what the entity number was. Nothing. So it was so as far as like a radio thing, it was a bust. As far as a camping trip was, it was a bust. So here's the funny: the way the story ends is I get a call today from the mechanic at the Ford dealer, the service manager, telling me, says, "Oh, we'll let your truck sit for a day." He says, "We're out there," says, and we unlocked it and started right up. So they think it looks like the key was bad and got a lot of moisture in it, and it's just bad. So they're going to cut me 2 new keys and program them and all that stuff. But so talk about like the plan was to go out and activate, and didn't even get a chance to turn the radio on. So that was fun.
Oh, that's rotten, Chris. That is absolutely rotten.
No service, no nothing. It was just. So yep.
All right, let's see. We got N0LSD chipping in. And I'm sorry, I keep calling you your call because if you told me your name, I've forgotten it. Please just let me know what it is and I'll try to remember it. Worst experience trying to activate a park for winter field day. Hiking 2 miles in 10 Fahrenheit. I mean, that's getting pretty cold at that point. Got antenna set up only to find I'd forgotten the power cable to connect the radio to the battery.
Oh.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh.
Jeez.
Man.
Rob, VE3PCP, my worst POTA operation was at Ben Miller Conservation Area near Goderich. That's again near the Lake Huron, Georgian Bay coast there, the eastern edge of Lake Huron / Georgian Bay. Poor conditions to start with. Then the ECM in my truck failed. Had to tow the truck back to Kincardine to get fixed. Oh.
Yep.
Oh no. Jeez. We just don't realize how we take our vehicles for granted.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So if you're listening to this and you've got a tale of woe you want to share with the gang here, we'll share your woe with you. Let me tell you about mine. And I've actually got a couple. I don't know if I'll share them both, but let me just go and show you this one. Nope, not yeah, it is this one, but I want to show a specific. I want to show the campsite. So there's what the campsite looks like here. This campsite is at at Rattlesnake Point Conservation Area, which is about 20 minutes north of my my home. Used to be my home. That was my home portable center of operations until the pandemic came. They shut down camping, and then when they reopened camping, they only opened it for group camping. With the rates jacked right up to the point where I can't, it's like $250 a night.
Oh,
and it's like, you got to be joking me. So I haven't been up there since. Beautiful places, like great private sites. This site right here, 2019 CQ Worldwide single sideband contest. Now, that's an NFED antenna you're looking at heading up, and it's sort of sloping up from there into the far end where I've got my 50-foot DX wire mast, and the end that's coming towards the camera there is tied off on a tree right behind. It's kind of deceiving, this photo, because it's actually a fairly long site. Really nice site for working with wire antennas. And I was doing pretty well, like CQ Worldwide. I'm sitting there with my FT817 and I'm banging out the contacts. But as often happens with me, I get headaches. I have a wonky neck, and if I sleep the wrong way, and I'm out there camping for the weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, then pack up Sunday and head home. Saturday night, I had been fighting a migraine all day after some neck pain sort of migrated upwards, and as we got, and I'm making contacts, I'm making transatlantic contacts with my FT817 off this thing. It was fantastic. It was raining. It was pouring rain outside, but I was nice and secluded, safe inside my tent. I wasn't warm. I think I had a parka on plus 2 additional jackets on. I mean, I was warm enough. I wasn't freezing, but having a great. But it was the headache that was killing me, and it got so bad. And it's October, late October. It's getting dark out, and my headache just got to the point where I almost stumbled out of the tent. I went to the bushes at the side and I threw up. And then wow. I'm in so much pain. The migraine is so terrible that I did it 2 or 3 more times and finally decided this is crazy. I got to go home. So I packed up the radios only. I left everything else there. I drove home. I took a whole bunch of medication, woke up the next morning, and came and packed everything up. That was that was pretty much it. Was that one of those contradictions? I was having so much fun on the radio, but the pain was so intense that it spoiled it all for me. There you have it. That's got to be my number one. I'll tell you, it was memorable.
Wow.
All right. Let me see here. Rob, VE3PCP. It is free day use at Ontario Provincial Park weekend. Is that this weekend, Rob? They do that up here one weekend of the year. and support your parks weekend coming up. That's a Parks on the Air activity, isn't it? But I guess Philip won't be going. Philip, drive in your air-conditioned vehicle, throw a ham stick on the roof, and you're all set. Shane, Scout 75, N0 LSD. I share your misery. I did a 3-mile hike in Pota, fortunately in the summer, and forgot my power cable. That night, I tethered the power cable to the rails mounted on the radio with cordage. Good for you. Yeah, you're not going to forget it that way. Absolutely. Let me see here. Bike tour. Worst but learning. Down in a river canyon with my FT710 battery and Wolf River coil, because that's all I have. Zip. Hike to the top of the canyon. No. Now getting a QRP rig. So you didn't get any contacts at all?
He was down in a canyon. Okay. I was trying to figure he was down in a canyon, so I guess that was it.
Yeah. Well,
but he went up to the top of the canyon and still didn't work. Oof.
Yeah. Now, what was it? Conditions? The 710's a 100-watt radio, mind you.
Yeah. The battery dead.
So I'm guessing, I mean, by the time you take a 100-watt radio the size of a 710, the 710 is pretty close in specifications, size and weight to an 897, which is somewhere around 10 pounds, 10, 11 pounds. So you got that. You're going to have a battery, which is big enough to power that 100-watt radio. So I'm guessing you got a 20 amp hour, a 30 amp hour, even lithium ion. That's going to be bulky, and it's going to be, I mean, it's not like an SLA, I get it, but it's still going to be fairly heavy. You're carrying quite a bit of stuff down there if you're packing it and you're walking down. I'm very curious to see if you were hiking or if you took a motor vehicle down or what. Okay, let me see here. So seems it is just July 19th. Okay, so Rob is saying anybody in Ontario Parks, free weekend. I went today. I went to Bronte Creek Provincial Park. I filmed 3 videos because I'm off this week. It's my vacation week, and cost me $18 for a day pass. So it's a good deal if you're in Ontario and you can get to an Ontario park to do some portable activation. If you're just going to take the family. Thanks for the heads up on that, Rob. Okay. Anything else? Tim, you know what? We're going to shift gears a little bit here because earlier today, and I've got something from Philip I've got to read too. But Tim, you know what? No, let me do the Philip thing first because it ties in with the theme.
Okay.
Bear with me just a second. I'll go find that. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. Sorry, guys. Can you fill in some blank airtime while I do a quick search here?
I was thinking earlier when you said you did 10 field day videos that it was one of those field day videos that convinced me to buy the FT817. In fact, I remember the way you wrapped the video was you were sitting in your home shack and you were talking about like how you did it and how it worked and all that, and you were thanking all those folks that listened as close as they could to try to work you. And I said, you know what? That means that the QRP rig will work. If it can work field day, you can pretty much do anything with it. So,
all of my portable expeditions have gone just flawlessly. I can't complain. I've never had a problem.
All of them.
Every single one. Even the ones I do in my back. Even the ones I do out in my backyard are just perfect. Bands are always open. No bugs. I never forget anything.
Well, it's funny. Like each year, I like, especially with the YouTube channel, I try to do something different. So, like the very first time I did a field day thing was pandemic time, and I set up a tent in the backyard and did the whole thing there on my own. Then I did one up here in our screened-in porch that we have because I was like, I'm not going to go out and. Well, first of all, I've set up a tent in the backyard here. I'll get chewed up by bears, so I'm not going to deal with that. Yeah. So I did, then last year I did like a POTA Rove. I went to 3 parks and, set up. Basically, I made like 15 contacts at each park. So I'm like, well, I activated a park while I was operating field day. How about that? And I just went to 3 parks. An exhausting day, but it was that was fun. So I always try to find something different to do on field day, like operate field day in a different mode kind of thing. So
hey, that keeps it fresh, Chris, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm going to get to Philip's email in just a minute because he had a terrible experience and I want to share it. But first, Rich, N4VS. Rich is the kind fellow who sent Chris and I an antenna last month that we both got to use at field day. But you guys know, when it comes to Chinese radios, I'm not really crazy about them.
I've heard something like that.
Yeah, just it's like
I know I got 12 demerits for buying that G106. So.
Not a lot of Canadian manufacturers, though.
That's true. Heck yeah, Marconi doesn't make ham rigs anymore. I don't think they ever did, actually. I guess, but some of their wartime stuff may have been converted.
The American ones either, but still.
So briefly, on the topic of Rich. And Chinese. So Rich got himself a new rig. He ordered himself a new rig. And he sent me a photo. He was so excited that he sent me a photo. Let me just share this with you.
Yes, that's pretty funny.
Is that a stock photo, I wonder, or did he actually capture that?
It doesn't matter. It's fun. All right. So there we go. It's time to share Philip's Philip's email here. Okay.
Yeah.
So
get
here
your
he goes.
tissues. Get your crying towels ready.
Oh yeah, here we go. Tracy, the worst time I had running portable was at a POTA activation. Some folks came by, nice and friendly and chatty. I let my guard down. One heisted my Buddy Pull Power Mini 2 controller, which I wasn't using at that moment, but just laying on the picnic table. I didn't notice the unit missing until way too late. Now, whenever I am approached at a park by the curious, corrupt, etc., I never turn my back on them. That particular lesson cost me $185 shipped.
He's got an attack dog. I don't know why he just doesn't take that with him. I mean, that'll discourage
anyone. You would think so. Yeah.
Now, who would take something like that? And what are they going to do with it?
Who knows?
That's the thing, right?
Electronic that looked valuable and just decided to take it. And then they went to the pawn shop and they're like, what the hell is this? And,
yeah, exactly. I'll give you $5 for it. It's like unbelievable. Unbelievable. How stupid can people be?
The second worst time I had portable was doing a POTA activation at Crooked River State Park near the Florida border in Georgia, less than 5 miles. Now, it wasn't a bad experience per se. I arrived early. No one had reserved the particular pavilion of interest. In the Georgia State Park system, you cannot make reservations the same day for pavilions, picnic shelters. The spots are indicated by W on the website for walk-up. So after about 30 minutes, an older gentleman walks up and asks me if I had reserved the pavilion. I tell him no. A whole mess of people then arrive and say, "Do you mind if we share with you?" Of course not. The group was throwing a birthday party for their 2-year-old granddaughter. They even invited me to have barbecue lunch with them.
Hey,
I declined saying, I declined saying I had touchy digestion and I can't deal with spicy food in so many words. I mean, they were nice. It was loud. Headphones are great. I told one of them, if you're interested in amateur radio, I can set you up right. No takers. Downsides. One of the ladies rolled over my coax with her vehicle. No damage. The little 2-year-old toddler was not being supervised that well and was waiting to monster stomp my solar panel.
It was her birthday party.
I had to nicely speak up. Now, I was polite, accommodating. Nerve-wracking? Yes.
Polite but firm. Polite but firm.
If you drove up and saw my truck, what would you do? Next time, I must say I'm with the government doing classified things and privacy would be appreciated. Not really untruthful.
Yeah, that'll scare him.
That's right.
Hang on, so bear with me. I got a photo here.
The only pavilion in the state, and he has to use it on the toddler birthday weekend.
So here is Philip and what he was set up and using. I love that. That antenna is so cool.
It is.
That's a beautiful thing. Jeez.
So here he is set up in the pavilion, minding his own business, and then somebody just shows up and says, "Oh, you mind if we share it?"
So
what
this
we should have told him that the RF levels probably aren't good for little kids.
Not good for kids. Yeah, right, not good for kids.
Well, we're going to serious electromagnetic radiation here. We don't know if you're going to have the children.
Exactly.
If you've got
the last kid, the kid came here a few weeks ago. He's got a third ear now.
Yeah. If you've got fillings, stay away. Your teeth explode.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see here. Rob, I did field day at my local park in 2020 and came down with COVID for the first time the next few days after. Geez, was that because you were exposed to the
park
public, Rob? Is that where that came from? And the RF resistance, setting up at a POTA to try a new antenna. After a considerable drive to discover the adapter I needed was at home on the desk. Yep. Now keep a box of adapters in the car. Well done, sir.
Not that has ever happened. Not that it's ever happened to me, right? Things like that don't happen to me. But I do have one of those toolboxes that I use for a radio box that has those little top containers.
Yep.
I got nothing but adapters.
That's right.
I got USB to USB-C. I've got SO239 to SMA. You name it.
Yep.
You know what's great for keeping those handy?
2 each. That's right. Yeah. 2 each.
You know what's a great little item for keeping those all handy? An Altoids tin.
I've got one of these actually. I find the Altoids tin a little small, so I like to keep my stuff in this little handy dandy bag.
You see nice little bag.
Yeah.
Have you seen one of these before?
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah, little pouch.
Cool. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Got a pair of sunglasses in here. How about that? See? Never forget, just in case.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, but you're just being the gray man wearing those sunglasses, right? That's part of your usual kit, I'm thinking.
It depends on the glasses.
Yeah. Rob's just saying, yeah, we were talking about the COVID. There were many campers there that weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Rob was also asking me, did I operate in the CN POTA? Now, that was the Canadian National Parks on the Air. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but that preceded Parks on the Air. The National Parks on the Air program preceded when they expanded to include all parks. And I don't even think it was the same group that put it all together. Maybe I'm wrong. But no, I never did. I didn't even know about Parks on the Air until I was in the backcountry of Algonquin Park with my FT817, making contacts, just contacting special event stations and other things. Checking into nets when somebody said, "Oh, are you collecting parks?" And I said, I don't know. She said, "What? Well, are you at a park?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "What park are you? What is your park number?" I said, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" And she told me about Parks on the Air, and then I came home after that trip and learned all about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I first found out about that. I know it was sometime around 2017 when they were doing the program.
Yeah, the ARRL did the National Parks on the Air thing.
But I think if I remember right, I was doing like PSK30. I was trying to do PSK31 on my tablet or something like that, and I was trying to run it like that. And I was downstairs, and I make this contact, and somebody's talking about Park 2205 or something. What are you talking about, dude? And he's like, "Oh," and he started explaining the ARL Park program, something or other. I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, wow, that sounds really cool."
Then it was now when the ARRL one was like just for a year, right?
Right.
Then it was like park something in Flora, right? Wasn't like the year after.
Flora and fauna.
Yeah, and then it became then I believe it's different guys, or maybe they worked on the National POTA thing, but the POTA thing that exists now is like it's all volunteer. And it's,
for sure.
It has skyrocketed into popularity.
I heard, do they still have the results from the 2017 version up?
They're probably up on the website somewhere.
Because I forgot where I placed. I don't know. It was like 500 or something. Which I thought was pretty good.
And hey, look, the ARRL is getting back to life. Logbook of the World came back to life a couple of weeks ago.
Who?
Logbook of the World is back up and running.
Windows 8. That shit's dead. Give me a break.
Yep, it's running, and all my contacts are still there. So
I'm sorry. You know what? You go down for that long. I think people have moved on. Have you moved on?
Listen, I did it. I got my DXCC. I'm good now.
I gotta upload my certificates again and do all that. Come on.
No. It just came right back up.
Okay.
Everything
I'll
worked.
give them this one. For all the money they collect.
Well, there's that.
I still think that's in some, Colombian data center or something like that. It's being run by, they farmed it out. It's not. It can't be them, right?
Up in Newington, probably not.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's got to be. They got to be. Hey, are we running yet? Are we up yet? No, sorry. You paid bill.
We'll send you box of cars to hold you over.
It doesn't make any sense, And then of course nobody's talking about it. Well, wait a minute. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah,
and you know what
they cut that close to the vest.
And you know what hams are like. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Well, you know what? What the hell do I know? So.
Hey, Tim. So down Georgia way, Philip says we call those adaptators down here.
So they do. You
know what? And actually up here too, Philip. The small ones that you get for SMA, BNC, like the really small adapters. So up here they call them adaptator tots. Let me see. We got Rob coming back with regard to VE3PCP, National Historic. So we're talking about CN POTA, National Historic, and nobody gets my jokes. National Historical Sites and National Parks in Canada.
Tracy, I always say there's nothing like a good joke, and that was nothing like a good joke.
A National Historic Sites and National Parks in Canada only. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there was a National Parks on the air in the U.S. as well. And Rob is actually saying that, it was the same as POTA, but was for only 1 year. And that's the thing where I am, Rob. Now, you're up near Bruce Peninsula, Bruce National Park. There's also one in Southern Ontario, Point Pelee National Park. But I think that's it. There's nothing really near me. So at that point, I wasn't able to get away and make something like that happen. And that was 2019. Philip's talking about the adapters and what he uses to keep those in. Small Tupperware container knockoff for all the coax widgets. That works just fine.
Is it real Tupperware, though? Is it?
Well, he did say knockoff, right? Tim, the eternal optimist.
It's true. I was born an optimist. And I got my radio license.
Yeah. Philip, bongo ties, S-biners hone in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rob's coming back confirming Bruce Peninsula National Park, Point Clark Lighthouse, which were two not far from me. Okay. Point Clark, been there. Nice, really nice little place. Okay. One thing we haven't hit on yet, Tim.
What's that?
You sent me a link to a website earlier. And I wonder if you would
thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so hang on just a sec.
Check that out. That's cool. Just so you know, I'm not involved. I don't own part of it. I never did. I got contacted by a customer of mine and said, "Hey, I really like your stuff." He bought one of the black pepper dipoles and some other things too. He says, "Hey, I'm buying. I'm by the way, I'm doing this, with me and just some other people. Would you like to have your stuff on here?" Sure, why not, right? And this was about 6 months ago, somewhere around there. So there was nothing. It was just like, oh yeah, sure, fine. Well, he's finally got some stuff up and running, partially at least, if not mostly. And the more I dug into it, the more I actually like the idea. So it's like, do you guys know what reverb is for like musical equipment? Yep. This would be like reverb for ham radio, right?
Very cool. So you're on there? Your products are on here?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, if you go to shop.
Yeah, up on the top there, Trace.
Yeah, there you go. Go to shop. It just will slow down. So you've got, and I haven't spent a lot of time on the site. I've just,
Right,
it just got up and running not too long ago. But if you go down, you've got all of this stuff, and these are actually go to the about page, and that'll kind of give you the story. That's Austin Group. So he's the one who started these things. So this gives a little description about, why he's doing it and so forth, which I think is just a really cool idea. So if you're a ham, it's worth your time to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Now I still got to upload a lot of my stuff and add inventory and descriptions and stuff right there. So what's there now is kind of like really bare bones. But
yeah,
there's
Tracy, go back to the shop section there, and and I think if you look down, we've got antennas, right?
Yeah, so if you go to antennas, you'll see me down there somewhere. Poto lightweight antennas.
I thought he had a separate. You could.
He did, but it's actually under sellers. Yeah. You go under sellers, it has me, but this is the.
That's right. That's where it is. There it is.
Yep. A couple of things that he pulled off of eBay and put them on there. So I actually still have to go in and like add all the stuff and do it. But the concept overall, I think, is really neat. Go to get education. Now he's going to have some forums and stuff in there too. There's a blog, community courses forum. So like people who, have tips and tricks or want to share their worst POTUS story kind of thing. Can go there and do this. So that's coming too. So we as radio people have our own place we can go.
Yeah, that's it's a great idea. It's like an online hangout. I think it's pretty cool.
Now, I got a note from him, and he was moving back to Europe, or moving to Europe, or something like that.
Oh.
I think he's German. I think.
Okay.
We've only exchanged emails. I've never spoken to the man really, but I'm really digging the concept here. And I like what this is. I like what this could become. So I wanted to share it with the folks. So if you have time, check it out.
I think it's great.
Yeah, really like we should. Maybe we should think about maybe having him on too.
Have him on. Yep.
I'm doing a poor job of explaining because I'm not that familiar with it. It's kind of.
But it could also give him a bit of a boost.
Yeah, and it's this thing that's kind of been out there on the periphery because it wasn't up yet. It's coming. Oh yeah, we're doing this thing, and I've been distracted to death for the past few months. So it's always been just kind of out there. Well, now it's here. So
good stuff.
A wonderful idea.
Thanks for sharing that. Hey, we got Rich N4VS. We were just talking about you, Rich. Yep. You're late, but that's okay.
So if Richard, if Richard is going to sell those, right? I mean, that would be like the perfect place.
Yeah. So here's the question: has anybody contacted you to get one of your antennas?
Yep. Is that actually so I'm not clear, Rich, whether or not that's a professional endeavor for you. Is that actually something you're setting up a store to actually sell those kits? And I think they're fantastic. Well, I had a lot of success on field day with it.
And the cool thing is that when it's collapsed, it's like 22 inches long. It's very compact.
Yeah, there it is. There's the whip. And the other pieces don't take up much room at all. No. So very cool stuff. Thanks again, Rich.
Yep.
Rob, also talking about Canadian National Parks on the air again, the program that was on for a little while. But I guess they're still parks, so you can still operate POTA from them. Woodside National Historic Site in Kitchener. Boyhood home of William Lyon Mackenzie King. I'm guessing my two co-hosts have never heard that name. A former Prime Minister of Canada back in the day.
No, actually.
Sorry?
No.
Yeah.
Was he notable for something, or
the Prime Minister?
Is that it? I mean, Grover Cleveland was a president, but what did he do? Chester Arthur, remember him? No.
I remember Chesterfield.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I'm familiar with Chesterfield.
Oh.
Okay. So Rich N4VS, I'm not sure. It wasn't a commercial item, but I guess it could be easily enough. So probably, I guess he's maybe just playing around.
I think he just made him for us to go play with.
I think that was it.
Cool. That'd be cool too.
And look, I appreciate it. It worked. And actually, I was super impressed with the way it was put together. It's great.
100%. I will definitely be using it going forward.
Yep.
Got some ideas. Rich lives in Chesterfield. Hey, there you go.
Wow, so that's
beautiful
like
downtown.
Are you going to tell me what he did? William Lyon Chesterfield King or something? He didn't do anything.
He was a prime minister many moons ago, and if he did anything notable, I have no idea what it was.
Wartime? The wartime prime minister?
It was, let's just say, long before I showed up on the scene. We don't celebrate our past prime ministers the way you folks do with your past presidents.
Well, okay, so if you put it in that context, we don't really separate. I mean, if I were to go to like Marion, Ohio, okay, I can see the William Harding birthplace and stuff like that, which I don't really call a celebration like that. But usually when somebody comes to me, there are a lot of like, Madison counties and Lincoln schools and things like that when they're notable for something. But I, not being familiar with Canadian history, I didn't know if he was notable for something, whether he was the commander of the Cold Bath Field Guards or something. I mean, I don't during the D-Day.
I'm not a big history buff to be. You're asking the wrong guy. Richie is an antenna builder. Good stuff. Hey, Rich, we're putting a bow on this one, but going forward, it'd be nice to hear about other stuff that you're working on.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, guys, I think it's time to actually wrap this up. Tim, any final thoughts before we make our way out of here?
I think you should probably, there's a few YouTube channels on Canadian history that might, have some good information.
Okay, wait a minute.
That'd be my guess.
Rob is rescuing me here. He's throwing me a lifeline.
Aha.
William Lyon Mackenzie King. Oh, he was an old man. Okay.
So what is that? No, seriously. Okay, wait. Well, what is that? Is that the order of something? Commander of the Queen's Guards, professional corporation. I mean,
probably closer than
no. It's
somebody copied this off Wikipedia, just pasted it there, didn't they?
He was politically correct.
Canadian statesman and politician who was the 10th prime minister for 3 non-consecutive terms.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. 35 to 48. Okay. Cool.
Now we know.
Oh.
Now we know.
Okay.
Knowing is
and that would have been wartime, right? 35 to 48.
No.
Yes.
Canada.
Yeah.
Or there may be 39 for Canada.
Liberal. He was the dominant politician in Canada from the early 20s to the late 40s. That's one heck of a time span.
And got a park named after him.
Rich sent Chris and I. Anyway, Tim, I don't know if you were in on that email, but
the antenna thing.
The splitter, the power pole splitter, Amazon Prime deal. I've already got one. So no, Rich, I didn't. I appreciated the tip, but as it turns out, I've already got a power pole splitter, so I didn't need one. That was a great deal, though.
Amazon Prime deal.
Speaking of Amazon Prime deals, is Prime over? They were having an unbelievable sale. Well, I should. They had a pretty good sale on a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate.
Oh yeah, thanks for the tip.
$280 Canadian. Now I'm talking about Amazon.
Were those the Power Queen ones? I know Power Queen.
No. It was the Eco-Worthy. The green and orange. I think it was.
The other Chinese factory.
Yeah.
Batteries. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think it was 280 Canadian. So that I almost pulled the trigger, but I've got all low power radios. I've got a 30 amp hour and 2 10 amp hours.
Well, I've been sucking up the Power Queens, the 100 watt or the 100 amp hour ones.
Yeah.
For solar setup here when things go dark.
So Mike KMRD had a power. He did a video a couple of weeks ago where he had a power failure down in this place in Texas, and he was running everything off of his his batteries, the 100 amp hour, 200 batteries. Every room in the house had different batteries set up, jackeries and stuff like that. No gas generators. I think he lent his gas generator to somebody else. So he had all this stuff up, and he lights this up. That's running. He's got all this stuff. But then outside he had like every solar panel that he owned, but they were all like the portable ones. And he was literally like a couple hours had gone by, and he had like maybe 5%. Recharged back in. He still had 95% to go. And I was like,
right.
I said, oh no.
Yeah.
Well, he's in Texas, right?
Yeah. And he had it right on the sun, but I was like, those little panels are not.
No. Well, you see, now he's lived through one of those. We had one of those here in about 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
We had a bunch of storms come through, and all the trees got knocked down. And the power was out for like 3 days.
Yep.
And I had some stuff, being.
That's why I have a gas generator on the back.
Kind of woke, but you don't have to live through one of those things twice.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I have a generator, and I wired up a transfer switch in the house, and that's it.
You know, it was the wife bitching about how hot it was, I think, that did it. You know, it's hot. Well, there's no power. What do you want me to do? Why do you think you have to do something? Well, then shut up, okay? Because I don't. I'm a dude. I fix stuff, okay?
That's right. That's what we do.
You come to me with a problem, I'm going to try and fix it.
Hey, Tim, Rob, V3PCP, get in touch. He can connect you too.
Excellent. Sweet.
Rich, N4VS, I bought an off-brand portable 160-watt solar panel on Prime Day. Let us know how it works out. Keep in touch, Rich.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. Chris, anything final from your side?
I'm all good. After the next time we meet in August, I will be back. I'll be fresh back from a week-long harmonica convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yep.
Good stuff.
Ugh.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been a pleasure. We're really grateful to have you along for the ride. One last comment from Philip. P3 Solar for good stuff. Okay, there's a tip right there. Take care. Enjoy the most out of your summer. And until we meet again in August.
Yeah. Hey, just a quick thing for Philip. You know, the P3 Solar stuff. I know he's been talking about that for a while. Just tweet that. I'll retweet it. Somebody else will retweet me, and we'll get it out there.
Fantastic. 7-3 Victor, 7-3 VK5 FUSC. Thanks for coming by. Philip, always a pleasure. Thank you. Shane, great to have you along. Thank you so much, and take care, and have some adventures out in the backcountry, my friend. For Tim of the N9 SAB Antenna Store on eBay and Etsy, and for Chris from Kilo 2,
Everybody
Charlie
go
Juliet
look
Bravo
up
Radio on YouTube.
Lion Mackenzie Knight, OM.
Yeah.
EPC.
Yeah. I don't know.
Order.
I'm not worried. That old news now. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Good night.